Hey, everybody. Today, I want to spend a little bit of time exploring what is all in the Google Classroom. And then I want to dive into some strategies about note taking and different things that you can do as you're reading the chapter to pick up on key phrases and keywords that are really going to pop up in the quiz, as well as the unit exams and ultimately the AP exam. So, as you've seen, we have quite a bit of helpful tools in the Google Classroom. And I can't take all the credit for that because a lot of the resources that I use actually come from the support group that I'm in, from teachers all over the country and really all over the world. So, whenever you open a new chapter in Spodek, one thing I recommend doing, because you have the chapter to read and you have my podcasts, to get an idea of what's coming in the Spodek chapter, you actually want to start at the end of the chapter first and then go backwards. You're looking for key vocab words. They're usually bolded. You'll want to look for notes that are in the sides of the textbook, things that describe images, maps, perhaps a note from the editor, things that really pop out, because quite often these notes that are on the sides of the pages actually correlate directly to the key concepts. In addition, I've also posted for you bullet outlines. These are the basis of my PowerPoint. And a teacher from my support group actually typed these up, so I am using them with permission from the individual. But what you can do is find the topic of the chapter that we're reading about. So last week we read about Greece and Persia, modern day Iran. And this week we're focusing on the Roman Empire and Han China. Now, in your Spodek textbook, chapter 6 is Rome, chapter 7 is China. But my bullet PowerPoints and ultimately podcast, it's one single chapter. So what I would recommend is clicking on this and then actually exploring, taking the time to read through the actual notes that are posted. And the reason I suggest that is it's really going to give you an idea, a really thorough idea, because these are amazing outlines, by the way, of what's going to be in the textbook. And you don't have to take notes on them. You can just read them. Think about what you're seeing. Think about how that correlates to our key concepts. And then when you dive into the actual chapter textbook, you'll have an idea of what to expect. And anything that is familiar to you, anything that you've seen both in the textbook and in the outline, you might want to write that down. Something else I would suggest is the Aamco World History book. I've got 2 copies. I have one at home and one at work. And what I do with that is every week I read about the topics. I already have a thorough knowledge, but refreshing is always good. Plus, it also helps me come up with new warm-up questions and different topics that we can discuss in class. The reason I suggest this book is it is all about the key concepts. It is basically what you need to know for every single topic, every single key concept. Basically, this book is not very large, and it takes the entire chapter of a textbook and condenses it down to about 10 pages. And it really focuses on the grapes as well, again, the key concepts, which are crucial. Why I have this webpage up, and by the way, I don't get any kickbacks or anything from recommending this book. This is fantastic. A lot of teachers recommend their students buy this. Many schools actually provide an in-class copy. We unfortunately don't, but I'm really recommending that you can go out, buy the copy. Here's the thing, guys. The best available price for this book comes directly from the publisher. And I have this pulled up, this website, so you can actually see what the price is. If you don't order from the publisher, you're going to pay more. eCampus and bigger books is $24. But if you actually go to Aamco, so if you click on the Aamco link, which is taking a wee bit of time, but we're there, you'll find social studies. You will find world history. Click on that. And then finally, preparing for the advanced placement exam. And this is where you would actually order it. So you can take a look inside, and this book is $18.95 from the publisher. So there are some sample pages. We don't really have time to look at those, but really what I'm looking at is I've got my copy open and I'm going to pull it open to Rome. And this actually kind of correlates to your Spodek textbook because Rome was its own chapter, and it's essentially the entire Roman Empire in about 10 pages. Lots of important details, lots of charts, key terms by theme, vocab words you have to know, and it's a great resource. What's fantastic is if you have this book, you can actually read through it, and it reads very easily. It reads more like a book than a textbook. And once you dive into the textbook after that, you're going to know exactly what you should be taking notes on. This is a fantastic supplementary source. But that's enough of that. And now we're back to the classroom. So the schedule is always here for you. When we start having Socratic seminars, the basic norms and guidelines, your packets here. I've also uploaded all of the PowerPoints for you that are the basis of the podcast. Now, here's the thing. You're going to go crazy if you're taking notes on the chapter outlines, the textbook, my PowerPoints, and then the podcast. So this is where you really have to start picking and choosing what you're going to be taking notes on. And I recommend, again, looking at the posted outlines so you have an idea, notes from the textbook, and then follow that up with notes from the podcast. So what you want to do is as you're taking notes from the textbook, leave some space. Familiarize yourself with the topic headings in the PowerPoints, again, seen in the podcast. Leave space as you're reading in the textbook, and then when we hit the same topic in the podcast, you can just add on to it. And that might mean pausing the podcast, going through, finding that correct topic, but that's going to save you quite a bit of time. And at the end of the day, it's a lot less hassle. That's the nice thing about the podcast. You can pause them. You can rewind them. And yes, I know my voice is haunting you outside of school. I apologize for that. No, I really don't. It's an awesome tool for you. We're going back up a little. And a couple new things that I've posted are crash course videos. And if you click on the all-in-one document for Unit 1 and 2, I have the links with the topic for every single crash course video. So we're now in Unit 2. And one thing you might want to look at, Roman Empire or Republic, follow the Roman Empire. And then there's a video about China, 2,000 years of Chinese history. And it kind of blends in dynasties we'll talk about later on, but it does talk about the Shang, the Zhou, the Qin, and the Han. And I would really recommend watching these videos. They're anywhere from 10 to 13 minutes each. But again, it's the entire Roman Empire in 10 minutes. That said, if you want to do more work, or if you're just looking for a way to catch the key information, I have these. So these are actually guided readings that do accompany the crash course videos. I'll never collect these. They're never going to be graded, but this is a great way to help you not only guide your thinking and catch what you need to look for, it's great practice for taking notes. So here's crash course, the Roman Empire or Republic, and then keep going. We'll be talking about religions, fall of the Roman Empire. You get the idea. Those are there for you. Again, you don't have to fill these out. You don't even have to watch the crash courses, but I really do recommend them. And finally, last thing that's been posted recently from the wonderful Ms. Menino, just down the hall from me at school, are the Chapter 6 outlines, Chapter 6 and 7 from Spodek. And these are also fantastic because they're going to help guide your thinking. They're going to make you think about key vocab words. But more importantly, they're going to help you make the connection. They're going to give you the idea, what is the big picture? What is the overall theme? Because that's what AP World is all about. We're not necessarily looking for every single little detail and the most specific pieces of evidence. What we're looking for is the big picture. We're looking for common themes, common connections, how everything comes together. And that's what these questions are. And it does give you a bit more freedom to answer them in a way that works for you. You don't have to write in complete sentences. You can use bullets. If you want to take this and instead of making it a bulleted outline, you want to turn it into a chart. You want to turn it into a mapping organizer. If you want to turn this into the Cornell note style, you can do that because there is no right way to take notes. These are here for you. We've got chapter 7. It's the same setup. And again, I am using these with permission from Ms. Menino. She was also in the support group because she taught AP World for several years and she was fantastic. All right, so we're going to stop there. The next podcast that I'm going to start making as soon as this one is published is going to focus on note-taking. Again, there is no right way to take notes, but there are a few ways that maybe don't work so well. So we'll talk about that in just a few minutes. Thanks for listening. You know how to get in touch with me if you have any questions. Have a great night, guys.